have barbers, I have pediatricians, I have acupuncturists, I have lawn care. There's an assumption that we're only going to work with small companies like a restaurant owner or somebody who has those food trucks. No, we're working with professionals.
Welcome to United We Podcast, the official podcast of the United Corpus Christi Chamber of Commerce, the only chamber podcast in South Texas. I'm your host, Al Ariola Jr., and we're here to explore the latest business insights, community stories, and opportunities shaping the coastal bend. Whether you're a business owner or just passionate about our region, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to United We Podcast. Today we are joined by one of our proud resource partners from LiftFund. Laura Estrada is joining us today. Thank you for being here, Laura.
Thank you, Al. I'm very excited about this opportunity.
I can tell you're excited. Hey, so I know you're pretty passionate about LiftFund, but before the folks, we talk a little bit about your job. Tell the folks in the audience a little bit about Laura, about yourself.
Well, there's not much to tell.
Where are you from?
I'm from Corpus Christi. I was born here, raised here. I actually have moved around quite a bit. Came home in 2009 after, I'm a former banker, by the way. So when the financial markets crashed, I came back home.
What year was that?
2008, and I came home in January of 2009.
Okay. Well, and I'm glad you brought up your banking experience. So why you obviously had some interest in working for LiftFund?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Our founder, Janie Barrera, is from Corpus Christi. We went to school together, and back in 2005, when I was managing banks in Houston, my mom said, "Hey, your girlfriend owns a business. You ought to look her up." And I said, "Mom, I have a lot of girlfriends."
Sure.
And she says, the one that used to be a nun. And I said, "Oh."
Jamie used to be a nun?
Janie was with the religious life at the Sisters of Incarnate Word here in Corpus Christi,
I did not know that. I remember her from my time in San Antonio, but I did not know that.
Yes, it's not a hidden secret. I mean, she's in San Antonio. She actually told her story. And I got excited, interviewed with her back in 2005. It wasn't that time to to join that company. And then around 2012, I decided to take a break from traditional banking. Janie found me again. Janie has finding zones that go on, right?
Uh-huh.
And she says, "What are you doing these days?" And I said, "I'm on a sabbatical from traditional banking." She says, "Well, come talk to us." At that time, we were called Acción Texas.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, we were part of a global organization. And so I said, sure. So I came in. I was actually a contract worker at the time. And I said, "I like that. I get to date you." And then the more I learned about Acción, and really I knew about them because I'd revisited with her back in that time in 2005. And then when I was in traditional banking, when I came home, I would refer my clients to Acción when I couldn't help them with a business loan.
Okay.
So I had familiarity with the company, and I was comfortable with that transition. So then I joined the company in 2012. 2012, 13, and I've been here since then. We have rebranded. We're a new name. We're called LiftFund. Mm-hmm. That happened because as we continue to grow, and in Janie, in her wisdom, and the board that oversees our CEO president, they thought it was time for us to be able to put on our
Well, tell your story a little bit better too, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw the branding, and it helped me, I guess, understand also the business of what you all did a little bit better too. And so I guess, could you tell the folks what makes you all different than a bank, so to speak?
So we are the same, but we're different.
Right.
So I will say the banks and the credit unions, let's use those two, traditional lenders. We want to know that the business owner understands their business. They have some background in the business, but they have some ability to pay back an obligation, no different from an institution. And then we want to make sure that they're meeting the underwriting guidelines of each organization. So that, in that regard, we're all the same. How we're different is we are a nonprofit. The other evening, somebody said, "I don't understand. If you're a nonprofit, you're making money." And I said, "Yeah, of course. Our fee income, just like the banks and the credit unions, ours is only derived from interest rates that we charge you, our loan origination fees, we use the word commitment fee, and then if you happen to be behind on your loan payment, we charge you insufficient funds. If you have a return check, we charge you a fee for being late. That's our service. That's our fee income from our services that we're providing you." So we're the same that way with the institutions, the traditional one. How we're different is we don't have checking accounts. We don't have savings accounts. We don't have your mortgage. We don't have anything else. We just do business loans. As a nonprofit, where I think people get a little confused, is we write for grants. We write contracts. So we receive grant funding, and with that grant funding, we're able to create different programs outside of the traditional conventional loan, which is like an installment loan with your bank. And we're able to offer something outside of the traditional SBA guarantee program. Here in Corpus Christi is a good example of that. Back in 2005, the city, in their wisdom, along with our CEO at the time, Jenny Barrera, they came up with a plan where we were trying to help business owners being able to get access to funding. They were not being approved by their traditional organizations for multiple reasons, whether it was credit, whether it was lack of capacity, whether it was lack of collateral. Our model is set up on risk. So the city said, we're going to help our business owners here in Corpus Christi by lowering their interest rate because we're going to help them. They can get more money with a lower interest rate, and then they have to meet the underwriting guidelines of LiftFund. And then so we partnered with the city and the banks so that people can be whole, get access to funding, and we're using a program for them. So in traditional worlds, my interest rate might be based on my FICO score. In my world, your interest rate is going to be based on a program that we can offer you. Here in Corpus Christi specifically, it's a 5.5% fixed interest rate for the life of the loan. And so we will...
How long typically are the lives of those loans?
Because they're smaller loans, my average loan size here in the Coastal Bend is right around the $30,000. So those are 5 years to maybe 6 years.
And what does a typical client look like for you? What kind of the business composition? Is it all mix of everything?
Yes, that is a really good thing. We have such a mix. I have barbers. I have pediatricians. I have acupuncturists. I have lawn care. There's a chiropractor, a CPA, a real estate agent, insurance agent. So one would think that LiftFund is only working with restaurant owners.
Sure, small businesses, the typical small business.
Yeah,
yes.
they assume because we're a nonprofit and because our model is built on risk.
Yeah.
There's an assumption that we're only going to work with small companies like a restaurant owner or somebody who has those food trucks. No, we're working with professionals.
Well,
and doctors.
Well, amongst that mixed bag that you just mentioned, do you see any kind of commonalities amongst them?
Yeah, they all need access to capital.
There you go.
I was talking to somebody, I won't mention this person's name, but very, very in tune with the community, has owned multiple businesses, and it's got a new idea. And the idea is something that the banks are not going to do. It's going to be a startup. So that person said, hey, I was thinking about LiftFund because I know you work with startups, and I think I'm going to have this plan in place, and I'm going to reach out to you so you can see if you can help me with my startup money. I've got some money saved aside, but not enough to do what I want. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, that'd be great. That was someone I didn't anticipate a call from.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up startups. The entrepreneurial spirit, a lot of people have ideas, and sometimes when you go to maybe a traditional bank, they want a lot more, I don't want to say structure, but history?
They want a lot of history.
History is the
2
word.
full years tax returns where you can show me you have been in 2 full years. That happened because of 2008. Mm-hmm. You can have a strong relationship with them. Got all your mom and dad, your brothers, sisters' accounts there, and you've had your business account there, but if you cannot produce 2 full years of business tax returns, typically today is not the day I can help you with a business loan.
Yeah.
But Al, I might help you with a personal loan.
Gotcha.
Well, I don't want a personal loan. I would like a business loan.
Right.
So I'm an avenue for that because now I don't have to go find another bank who's going to make me close my accounts with XYZ Bank.
Yeah.
I can actually look at LiftFund as an opportunity, possibly get access to capital, and then now you've given me an option, And now I'm not so upset with my bank, right?
Right.
Because they gave me some opportunities.
Well, there you go. And well, in fairness to the banks, right? History it matters, and consistency and performance. But the entrepreneur spirit of new ideas, new businesses, especially like right now in this kind of fast-paced moving. I guess a good example would be during COVID. If somebody was trying to pivot or create a business to help with that situation, well, where's your history, right? Like, how do you get there with a traditional lender? But programs like yours, I think, I hope a lot of folks are more familiar, getting more and more familiar with LiftFund and program partners like yourselves, that these resources are, I don't want to say invaluable, but yeah, they for a small business, it could mean life or death.
Yeah, I had someone that I helped out of the area in Houston and just gave me a call. And they were struggling because it was pre-COVID, then COVID hit, and they're an event center. A little different from typical,
Right.
but now calling to make some modifications. I said, hey, how's the business going? And she said, actually, we're finally making money. It's been almost 3 years since I've talked to this lady. She says, and had you not helped us with our seed money, I don't think we would have been able to get where we're at today. And I said, well, tell me more. And she says, well, and actually, I think we didn't use your money correctly.
Is that something you want to hear, though?
Well, she's making her payments.
Oh, yeah,
She's
fair
almost finished. But, for them to admit that, because you coach, not only are we offering access to capital, but we do a lot of coaching and mentoring. And then I office here in Corpus Christi with the Small Business Development Center, and the guidance counselors are there. But she said, I think we used our money inappropriately at the wrong time. We should have used it for this other programming that we needed to do that would have seeded that money that we needed for our working capital. Because we had to pivot and we had to modify our plans, and it put a little bit of a hurt on us, but it made us really rethink our business plan and our strategy. And again, and I was grateful that she said, and had you not helped us, I don't think we'd be where we are today, because now we're in a good spot.
That's great. Well, and earlier you brought this up, and I think we need to maybe make a point of emphasis about the program that was started here in Corpus. That was when again?
That was back in 2005, I believe.
5. And so it was almost pioneering here, right?
Very much so. It's first of its kind.
And can you explain it again, just a little bit more?
So
and does it still exist, or?
It's still in existence, and I still have plenty of funds left for that one. So what the city is doing, and we get approval in our city and most cities, of a certain board that's appointed by the city council. Here it's the Type B board. They're looking at some of our tax dollars that are set aside as reserves to help business owners who cannot get access to funding from traditional resources, whether I'm a startup, whether I'm 5 years old, whether I'm 10 years old, but for some reason I no longer meet my institution's underwriting guidelines. So what we do is we look at that person, individual, the owner of the business, and the city is, if you meet my underwriting guidelines, being lift funds, and you meet the contract agreement that the city gives us, then I will be able to give you access to funds at 5.5%, and the city is paying what you're not paying in your interest rate.
Gotcha.
And so